It's actually insane that this is the first few seconds of the newest episode of ReZero. Like, we just straight up start with Priscilla just pulling everything off, putting her whole birthday suit on display, basically. I'm just like, wow, what a start to Cour 2 of ReZero. It is a scene that I have been anticipating, and so many have been anticipating that has been light novel readers, or those that have seen the illustration. Sadly, I cannot show the illustration on screen, or YouTube would be like, no, we do not like you. But if you are curious, just type in ReZero Arc 5 Priscilla illustration, and you'll probably see it. Actually, add in Priscilla fan service illustration, because if you say anything else, you might get some spoilers. So if you type in that, you'll probably get to see what I'm talking about. But anyways, all I'm saying is that ReZero is finally back, man, and it makes me so happy because it's like, I felt like a piece of my soul, the piece of my heart was missing all these months since Cour 1 came to an end, and I'm glad to finally have the series back at long last, and my goodness, what an episode. Like, okay, we gotta talk about, like, this final sequence here, by the way, this absolutely horrifying final sequence. It is just, it's so good seeing, like, Capella morphing and all that, and just seeing Felix just getting absolutely terrified. It's like, so much PTSD has been happening to poor man, like, literally since basically, yeah, since the beginning of Season 2. You know, we have just been seeing non-stop trauma poor, you know, Felix has been experiencing, you know, and just seeing this scene, it's like, it's about to happen again. We're about to see it happen once again, most likely, because anything that Capella is around is not good news by any means. Now, before I get ahead of myself, there is a few things I want to talk about, and obviously I think it's going to be affiliated with the title. Crunchyroll did a big no-no, a big mess-up this week. Now, I'm gonna just showcase it right here. This is Ice, aka the biggest well-known leaker a part of ReZero. He's also the individual that is a part of the Witch's Cult Translation, aka an individual and team that translates the web novel chapters of ReZero when they come out by Tappe-sensei, aka the author of ReZero. Basically, Ice knows what he's talking about. He definitely understands the context of the story, and he knows when a translation has been, let's just be honest, fucked up. So basically, when you take a look at this post, you get to see that Crunchyroll is now 0-9, or even more now, for constant mistranslations of ReZero. And I'm just like, how does this happen? Like, legitimately, how does this keep happening? Because at this point, it feels like it's more or less intentional, because this mess up that Crunchyroll did is actually a pretty huge reveal. It is, and it's sad that I'm going to have to talk about it like this in the video, and those that are anime-onlys that, you know, watch ReZero, you're going to find out this way instead of finding out through the episode, because it's not that the animators messed it up, it's not that the staff or the Studio Whitefox messed it up by any means. They properly adapted everything, the voices actually said the words that need to be said, but Crunchyroll did a big mess up and did a mistranslation, and the very context of this scene with Gluttony is destroyed. So let's read what I said here before I go any further, because, you know, honestly, when I was watching the episode, like, when this happened, by the way, in the episode, I was like, wait a minute, didn't we have that big reveal with Gluttony? Like, I was thinking about that in this episode when I was watching, and I was like, maybe I'm misremembering, because it's been a few years since I read, you know, Arc 5. And to be fair, I read the web novel, not the light novel, so maybe it was rearranged or changed a little bit. That was a potential possibility. So I thought I was, like, forgetting stuff. But then I saw Ice's post today, and he points out what actually was cut here, or not really cut, mistranslated. I want to clarify, it's not cut. It's in the episode. It's just mistranslated with bad subtitles. So, okay, let's read it. So, during this scene, Roy says the words, I can't pronounce this in Japanese, forgive me, but this is what he says. In the Japanese version, this is a pretty big reveal, because it's at this moment, it's clear that Roy is imitating Joshua, Julius's brother. We met him at the beginning of Season 3. You might have forgotten about him, but he was literally in the first episode of Season 3 of ReZero. He's a minor character, but we did find out that he was Julius's brother. Pretty big deal, because Julius is obviously a side character that has been pretty important for Subaru's growth, and Julius obviously helped Subaru take down Sloth at the end of Season 1. So Julius is not like a very, very minor character. So his brother, you know, kind of having this type of reveal, or this reveal about his brother, is a pretty big deal to Julius's character development. Anyways, in this moment, it's clear that Roy is imitating Joshua, Julius's brother, hinting at why he's been mysteriously not present all this time, aka Joshua, Julius's brother, not present. And the line in Japanese makes it crystal clear with the use of this right here. I can't pronounce it in Japanese. He says big brother, which Crunchyroll dropped entirely with their translation. So a correct translation of this line would be, "You really are as splendid as I imagined, big brother." And he was supposed to say it with the same context as how Joshua would say it to Julius. And in that moment, when you see like Julius's facial expression, when he's facing Gluttony, you can see his facial expression shift a little bit when you have that introduction. He realizes something is amiss, he just doesn't really know what. And so it makes you wonder what's going on there, because obviously Gluttony copying someone's speech patterns and kind of talking like an individual that we know, it implies that he most likely got his hands on that individual or killed him, one or the other. And as we know how Gluttony works, we've already seen it displayed within the story of ReZero to this point. Rim is a good example. Rim's entire existence has basically been erased, and nobody remembers her but Subaru. So in this case, this entire context, this dialogue, it can imply that Julius might not even know his brother is gone, if he is gone, because Gluttony got to him. So this reveal is a pretty big deal. It hints at what Gluttony's been doing behind the scenes, the connection that Julius now has with Gluttony, and we're lost potentially more characters that we're completely unaware of because Gluttony's been going on behind the scenes doing some really shady stuff. And with the reveal of two different Gluttonies, that adds more to it as well. I'll talk more about that in a second. But Crunchyroll legitimately screwed up. They screwed up big time for this reveal. And I'm just like, how does this even happen? Like, how does this happen? Because, FYI, this is not the first time that Crunchyroll has messed up. They have messed up. I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating, okay? You can cross-check. Even Ice himself has talked about this in post. Every single episode of ReZero Season 3 that has come out so far, okay, for Cour 1 and now Cour 2, has had some form of mistranslation that destroys context. Now, obviously, translations can be tough, okay? I understand that. I'm no translator. But, at the end of the day, your job is to be a translator, okay? That is their job. That is their actual job. Like, imagine for a second, you go to a regular job, okay? Let's say you're someone that works at a desk job or whatever, or like you're someone that's responsible for financing, and you mess up a certain amount of financing to a person. Maybe you give them too much money. Well, you're about to get in a lot of trouble if you don't correct that issue. You will, because obviously someone's going to get fired, someone's going to lose money, you get the point. And when you mess up your job, you get fired. That's just common sense. And so, when you think about a translator, their very job is to translate the content and make it accurate as possible without, obviously, localization. We know how that topic is. I'm not going to get into that one. But their job is to translate it as accurately as possible. But when you mess that up, not just once, but 9+ times over and over for the same series, and it keeps getting pointed out, there's underlying a problem. And this gets into another big issue. I don't want to turn this whole first episode review of, Cour 2 of ReZero into a Crunchyroll rant, but this does need to be discussed, because they have fucked up, and it needs to be pointed out. And it's honestly, it's so disrespectful, not just to obviously the audience that is watching ReZero, or the fans that have read the light novel or web novel, but it's disrespectful to the animators, it's disrespectful to Whitefox, it's disrespectful to Tape Sensei, the author of ReZero. It is straight up disrespectful to continue releasing this product on their platform with bad translations back to back. Once again, mistakes happen. Fine. But when it happens 9+ times every single episode, then it's time to stop and reevaluate. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know who exactly is in charge of these translations, but they need to get their act together. And Crunchyroll, I don't know why. You're messing up a lot of scenes. And a lot of people are not going to understand context. They're going to be confused. And it's insane. I shouldn't have to explain this. And Ice himself shouldn't have to explain this with a post to the ReZero community that's anime onlys. We shouldn't have to do that. It should just be common sense to add it in translation lines for the episode. But another thing. Since we're on the Crunchyroll rant, okay, I'll get off in a second. I know I want to talk about this episode. It's really good. It's a really good episode. Also, we gotta talk about Crunchyroll's very inadequate lack of advertisement for ReZero. Now, to be fair, okay, we're gonna pull this up, okay? I know ReZero is not the most popular series of all time. I mean, even looking at Crunchyroll's statistics here, looking at, like, the most popular anime right now on their platform, you see Don, Solo Leveling, and all that, you know, ReZero obviously isn't exactly at the top, but ReZero isn't, more or less a small product. It's not an anime that is like, let's say, extremely small community. It's not niche. It's very well known, and it's still here at the top. You can see this. It's, you know, it's a little bit down, but it's still here. You can still see it. Just a very brief look, you can see it. It is alongside of these other big name series. What I'm trying to say is that Crunchyroll has done zero advertisement for the anime, and I'm like, why? Why not? Like, why not? It's not like it's airing on rival platforms, from my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But from my understanding, it's not like airing on Disney. It's not airing on Amazon. It's not airing on Netflix. It's not airing on any of those platforms. Not on High Dive. So why are they refusing to advertise something? Because, like, if it was, like, joined ownership of it, I can see why Crunchyroll wouldn't want to focus on a product that they have ownership of. But they do. And the mismanagement of ReZero's advertising is so questionable, because there's a lot of people that were completely unaware that ReZero was returning today. That's also another big deal. It's like, I know there's going to be a lot of people that are going to see my video pop up in their feed today, and they're going to be like, ReZero's back? I know. I know there's going to be people that's going to do that. They're going to say it. I've seen it already on Twitter. So, all I'm saying is, Crunchyroll, get your shit together. You are doing such a bad job with this, you know, with ReZero right now as a product. Like, at this point, you really don't deserve it. Like, I'm gonna be honest. You really don't deserve this product with how you've been mismanaging it. You have literally fans and just translators and leakers and stuff advertising more than your actual marketing team. I don't know what's going on. Alright. Rant done. Let's actually get into the episode. I'm so sorry. I had to get that out of my system because I was a little bit pissed off. I was, as you can see. I was pissed off with what Crunchyroll did with this scene, because it was a pretty big reveal to kind of give some context to Gluttony, and then, like I said, the relationship that Julius is gonna obviously have with Gluttony. But okay, let's dive into it. First off, I want to talk about how we don't really have a new opening song. I think this is a very big thing that, honestly, not a lot of people might be talking about, but I think it's a perfect place to start for the episode. No new opening song, and from what I can see, there's no new visuals in this opening. That's not bad. The opening's great. I like the visual department of the opening, but what this indicates to me is a few things. It indicates that, I wouldn't necessarily say there's production problems. I'm not saying that. I don't think there's, like, issues going on behind the scenes. I've talked with a few animators that is working on ReZero Cour 2 and starting to start up, you know, Cour 3. I haven't been told that there's any underlying issues, from my knowledge. But I do think that the fact that there is no new opening song is a little bit sad. Because obviously, one of the big things about ReZero, and I love talking about, and I think many people love talking about as well when it comes to just ReZero as a series, is the opening visuals, the song as well, and how it accompanies, like, certain vibes of the story and what it's trying to tell and all that. It's very symbolic. Like, ReZero has some of my favorite, like, opening songs in just anime in general, because I like how you can really break them apart and analyze them and what's going on. It's like, yo, this is kind of crazy. Now, I could be wrong in misremembering. I don't think there's any new visuals in this opening. Like I said, I could be wrong, but regardless, I do think it's a little bit sad we don't have a new song. But that it is what it is. That's how it is. That's just, you know, that's life. But yeah, we press on. That's about it. I mean, just sad, but can't get it all. You can't win every single time. Anyways, with that being said, I guess, need to talk about Gluttony. Since I had such a big rant about it, let's get into Gluttony's character, since, you know, we had a huge reveal with him. Come to find out that we have two different Gluttonies. We have, like, Roy, and I'm probably going to mispronounce his name here, Lai. I know I butchered it, forgive me. But we find out that, you know, there is two Gluttonies, which is, crazy. So, there's been hints and indications of this, basically, since pretty much since the introduction of Gluttony, honestly, but now it's confirmed. Nobody can deny it. We can see that they look similar, but they're very different fundamentally by the way they talk, but also by the way they act as well. There is very subtle differences between both of the characters, but two different Gluttonies are active on the field at once, and we can only assume that Gluttony basically is in a very similar way. Like, both of them have the exact same ability. They can, you know, erase names, erase your existence and all that, and basically put put you in a similar state as Rim is currently within the story of ReZero, which is very dangerous, because obviously most people, when they think of like the Arch Sin Bishop of Gluttony, or any Sin Bishop, honestly, they think of one person. Obviously. I know everybody did up to this point. And so, knowing that there is 2 different Gluttonies on the move within the town makes a situation that's already dangerous even more dangerous. Because you have a Gluttony that's able to just move around, do whatever they want, so to speak, and nobody really knows they're there. For instance, we have a group that was going to anticipate and attack Gluttony to get rid of him, but then, obviously, another group encountered a different Gluttony. And it's just like, oh, uh-oh, that's not good. Like, we have Otto's group going after a Gluttony, and then we have Julius's group going after another Gluttony. And we know how dangerous they are. They're probably one of the most dangerous Sin Archbishops because of just what their abilities can do. As they continue to remove people's memories and existence back to back, the forces just dwindle and you don't even know you're losing allies. Scary stuff. So, the reveal is a big thing, and it just makes the situation, you know, worrisome because you're like, uh-oh, what character are we about to lose? Because, obviously, I've already talked about Julius's brother. It's kind of implied that something's happened to Julius's brother to some degree. Who else has been affected? And are we going to see more? I mean, yeah, that is the mystery that the episode builds up. Now, besides that, I really do want to talk about Wilhelm's character acting in this episode. Oh my goodness, man. This scene right quick, I gotta talk about it. I love the scene where Wilhelm instantly wants to reveal his wife's face just to see. And when he takes a look at her, his facial expression change is so good, man. It's so good. Like, I absolutely love the facial expressions for this episode of ReZero. And this one in particular really hits me in the soul. Call me crybaby or get too emotional or whatever, but like, I like Wilhelm as character. I've always liked him since the first time I really encountered him as a character when I watched the anime of season 1 many years ago. But seeing his journey and his struggle and all that, and him trying to get vengeance for his, you know, dead wife, and then finding out that his wife's body is being desecrated, and now he's being forced to fight his wife once again, while he's this old, feeble man, basically, now. You know, it has to feel very depressing. And his facial expression really showcases that. It makes you wonder, is he up for this? Can he do this? Can he actually maim or scar his wife, that, you know, obviously is dead, and her corpse is being moved around like a puppet, but can he actually do it? Can he take down his wife again? Because obviously the emotional attachment he has to her, and, you know, everything that's happened between not just him and his wife, but also his son and his grandson, Reinhardt, like, how is he going to handle this? Will Garfield have to step in, so to speak? Will he have to save Wilhelm, or will someone have to do it? Will Wilhelm die here? You know, there is so many things that you have to wonder, but obviously this is the continuation of Wilhelm's character arc that's been set up since the end of season 1. I mean, with the whole White Well fight and all that, and him fighting it, bringing it down and stuff, to finding out his connection with Reinhardt, and then, you know, what happened with his son as well, how his son's a drunk and not really a good person. You know, this is development that's been just really, the foundations have been laid there, and we're finally at that final step, or the step to where it's no returning. Like, whatever happens here is going to fundamentally change the character for good or bad. So, yeah, I mean, I like this because obviously Wilhelm is, as a character as well, he's continuously faced a lot of hardships and a lot of failures, because every time that he's tried to do something to help people or whatever, he's lost something. I mean, if we even disregard his current family, like, you know, his wife and stuff, we gotta look at what happened to, you know, the person he serves, Crush. She's been maimed twice by Sin Archbishops, okay? I mean, she lost, you know, her memories at the beginning of season 2, and now her body is basically disfigured by Capella, the Sin Archbishop of Lust. And he has continuously taken L after L. You know that has to burden him. Like, it's not, he's never winning. He never gets a victory. He might have defeated White Well, but it was only thanks to really Subaru that really stepped in and helped him. And that's why he's so grateful to Subaru, why he wants to help Subaru, why he admires Subaru kind of like a son, because Subaru gave him the ability to actually have a win. So, yeah, I mean, I love this. It's such good character acting from Wilhelm, and obviously you can see I'm very passionate about his character, and I cannot wait to see how, like, this stuff is done in the upcoming episodes. I am heavily anticipating this fight. Obviously, Garfield's fight's going to be very big as well, and I'm not going to talk too deep about that one, because I'm going to wait till more stuff comes out, but Garfield's fight, it's going to be good. That's all I'm going to say. You guys are not ready, man. You're not ready for the Garfield fight. So, let's move on to the next stuff. So we have Priscilla. She mentions the Council of Ten, and that the Sin Archbishops and the Witches' Cult did not kill the Council of Ten. This is a pretty big detail, and it's really hard to talk about this without spoiling it, so I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible. But in this scene, it's definitely obvious foreshadowing, okay? It's honestly, I'm not going to lie, this is incredible foreshadowing. Like, very good foreshadowing. As someone that is up to date with the current content of ReZero, this is insane foreshadowing. That's all I'm going to say. But, obviously, the way Priscilla talks in this sequence, she obviously knows who got rid of the Council of Ten and who killed them. She just doesn't reveal who. We don't know if it was a dude or a woman. We don't know the name or anything like that. It could be a completely third-party individual, not even currently in the town anymore, for all we know. But Priscilla obviously implies that she knows who did it, and she is very certain that it was not the Witches' Cult, the Sin Archbishops, or anything like that. So why? Why was the Council of Ten killed? You guys will have to find out and uncover that mystery. But this is some very incredible foreshadowing. I love it. Like, oh my goodness. And this is why I like Whitefox, by the way. I guess it's time to sing some Whitefox praise here. I love how this scene was added in, because obviously it is important. I'm not gonna lie, it's an important scene, okay? The Council of Ten and all that. It is. Context with the story building and stuff. But it is also a scene that, to be honest with you, when you factor in everything, the whole 9 yards of everything within the story, especially in Arc 5, it isn't the most important, okay? Everything's important. I don't want to act like it's not important, but there is things that can be cut, or things that usually are cut to be able to make way for more room for an anime adaptation. That's how it is. And for them to add this scene in, it showcases that Whitefox and the staff and the storyboarder and whoever directed this episode, they had enough foresight and vision to not set up for just like Cour 3 or even Cour 4, but to set up for like season 4 and 5. That's what they have set up for. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that the studio is laying down the groundwork, the framework, so to speak, for upcoming seasons. I'm not talking about like a potential season 4 that's going to be like, you know, Cour 3 and Cour 4 for ReZero season 3. I'm talking about like Arc 7 and Arc 8 and Arc 9 getting adapted. Very far off content. That's what they added in here. And I think I appreciate that they were willing to add this content in without cutting it, because when season 1 of ReZero came out, FYI, they cut a lot of content. Like, one good example of this, I talked about this in my videos for, you know, Cour 1 of season 3, Al. You know, finding out that Al was from Subaru's world, you know, that was a big reveal, which was crazy. But, basically, that was cut in season 1, okay? And it was revealed, obviously, with season 3 with its, like, little break time chibi shorts. And, massive reveal, by the way. But the point of the matter is that, they cut content that was very important for the future. But I think when ReZero season 3 was being made, it was a gamble, in my personal opinion. I don't think they probably ever expected ReZero to blow up as much as it did. I could be wrong there, obviously, but it kind of is indication, the fact that when you look at the gap between season 1 and then when season 2 came out, like 2020, it was very clear that most likely they never anticipated that much success. So I think in general, they obviously anticipate ReZero to do very well, and that's why they're setting up for the future with scenes like this. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next stuff. So with all that being said, we do need to talk about, obviously, Regulus and his fight with Reinhardt. Oh my goodness, what a scene! What a scene in this episode. So yeah, let's get into the big boy stuff finally. So I really do like in this episode of ReZero just getting to not just see Regulus's entire personality on display and how absolutely despicable he is. I mean, at this point, even if you're anime only, you know how awful this man is. He is actual living filth. He is a piece of filth itself. He is not a good person. He is so arrogant, very greedy, obviously ironic. We know he's the Sin Archbishop of Greed. But, like, his very character personality is so rotten. I love him. Like, he's such a good villain, because it's like, he's like this arrogant little teenager. That's how he acts. He acts like this, like, 16, 15-year-old dude that obviously has lived for a very long time. I mean, we saw him when Amelia was a child, and that was 100 years ago, okay? So he's a pretty old-lived guy, okay? We know this. But he acts like he's like a teenager, and he's just so immature and so mentally stunted and cannot take any responsibility for his actions, has to push it to everyone else. I love that. I love just having a villain being evil. Just being evil. That's it. Like, there is no redeeming features about this man. He doesn't have a crybaby backstory. He's just an asshole. That's what he is, and I appreciate that. I really do. I mean, with a current situation within, like, the entertainment industry where every villain needs to be sympathetic, I am just very grateful that Greed is a character that just, he's an asshole. That's it. He's a bad dude, okay? And he's fun to watch. I mean, he's an awful piece of filth, but he's fun to watch because he's entertaining. And I love seeing his reactions to when he is getting basically attacked by Reinhardt, or when Reinhardt gets up. It's some great stuff, which, I guess, let's talk about that. So, Reinhardt, he dies. Like, can we talk about that? Like, Reinhardt straight up, he died in this episode. This is an insane feat that I think that really needs to be talked about. Reinhardt had to use his Divine Blessing of the Phoenix. FYI, if you don't know what that is, it basically means if Reinhardt dies, he gets to continue. Think of game logic, so to speak. He rises like a phoenix. So, you can't really kill him. But, it doesn't change the fact. Regulus killed Reinhardt. That is an insane feat. Regardless, that basically means that Regulus was capable of going through Reinhardt's defenses. I think that is a big indication. Now, I want to clarify this, okay? Obviously, what Regulus said to Reinhardt in this episode, he's like, I want you to let me hit you one blow. I want you to not do anything, no actions, etc. And obviously, this implies that Reinhardt wasn't trying to protect himself actively at all. But we gotta remember divine blessings. Divine protection, so to speak. They are active pretty much always, for the most part. And that means that there's definitely divine protections are always going to be auto-enabled for him, for trying to protect him in some way. And the fact that he was able to break through those and kill him is crazy. That is actually freaking crazy that Regulus did that. So, obviously Reinhardt gets up because he's our broken, like, character, but still. That's an insane feat for Regulus, and he is definitely no slouch. Like, if there's anyone that could handle him, it would be Reinhardt. And it just goes to show that no one normally could take him down. That is how insane he is as a character. But okay, with that being said, though, I love how Subaru basically starts talking about how to deal with him. He's like, okay, let's get into the next phase of the plan and all that. I want you to just start doing things with, you know, different strategies to be able to get through his invincibility. I think that's really funny. I really like that because obviously there has to be a limitation here. You know, there has to be like a weakness that can be exploited for Regulus to some degree. He might be basically invincible right now, but how invincible is he really? For instance, to give, like, an example of this, could he survive terminal velocity? Like, if he was launched, basically to the edge of the atmosphere, and hit the ground, would he survive? Okay? Would he be able to survive the, you know, being shoved into the center of the earth? You know, there's a lot of speculation, a lot of theories you can have, so to speak. So, how invincible is he? So that is obviously what Subaru's probably going to be doing with Reinhardt, being like, okay, let's experiment. If he's really that invincible, you're obviously this broken, Reinhardt, let's experiment. Let's really see how strong this man is. So yeah, you gotta love it, man. You gotta love these strategies. And I like how Subaru's using his brain, even though he's not technically the physical one fighting, he's helping Reinhardt in some ways that he just never would think of, using his abilities and stuff that he would never use them like. But yeah, overall, amazing episode of ReZero. I think I've pretty much covered everything I need to talk about. If I have missed anything, do forgive me. I might have to make up a follow-up video if I have forgotten something to talk about. But, yeah. ReZero's back, baby. And I'm glad. I'm glad. Also, Crunchyroll. I haven't forgotten. I know I've been talking a lot about ReZero now. But fix your shit. Stop messing up the translations. Seriously. It's not good. It's unacceptable. Alright. Anyways, be safe, stay healthy, and I love you guys. Chibi out.